What do you think that they're training AI on? It's getting trained on everything that you ever said online, everything that you ever said on the internet, everything that you ever wrote, and everything that you're saying right now to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or what have you. And they're not paying you for that. You're paying them for that. You understand? You're paying them for the privilege of feeding data into their system so that they can build AI systems that can then replace you at your job. That's what's going on in your country. See, I've talked about this so many times, I feel almost shy to keep repeating it. But you need to recognize, this isn't a cyclical economic downturn. It's not one of those things where you just have to, hang tight during a moment of difficulty and things are going to get better. No, you can't afford to delude yourself about what's happening in your country. The center of gravity of the global economy is moving away from America. It's moving away from the West. And it's not coming back. This is very important for you to grasp. This is not happening arbitrarily. It's happening for fundamental reasons. It's happening for reasons that have to do with economic, social, demographic, geopolitical fundamentals. This isn't a whim of global capital. This is happening by necessity. It must happen, and it's irreversible. America is receding from the international stage. It is receding from the global markets. It is receding from international trade. It is receding from international engagement. Now, I'm not saying that America is going to become completely irrelevant, but I am saying that it's not going to be what it has been. It's not going to be what you've always known it to be or what you always thought it was. It's never going to be that again. It's never going to be the global superpower that it once was. It's going to be a regional power, no more, no less. In many ways, it already is just a regional power. And this downgrade is being accelerated. No one is trying to prevent it. Obviously, this is going to have very serious ramifications for everyone living in that country. Look, for example, most people think that America, they think of America as this high-tech empire or military empire. Silicon Valley, Google, Apple, Microsoft, what have you. Or they think of Wall Street, the Pentagon, or they think of, as I say, the supremacy of the dollar, the economic power of America. But the truth is that one of the deepest foundations of U.S. global power has always been agriculture. This is overlooked. This is sort of the silent pillar of American dominance globally. And their agriculture was never just about domestic consumption. It was about feeding the world. Wheat shipments, soybean exports, food aid. None of this was charity. These were all instruments of control. This gave Washington control around the world. Washington weaponized surplus grain, for example, the same way that they weaponized the dollar. For decades, if you wanted to feed your people anywhere in the world, you had to deal with America. You had to deal with America. But now look where we are in 2025. Those ICE raids have completely gutted the agricultural labor force in California, where I think something like over half of the workers were undocumented. When those raids started up and they intensified, up to 45% of workers just stopped showing up. Crops were left in the field to rot. This is collapse engineered from within. Then you've got the tariffs, Trump's trade tariffs. That pushed exports off a cliff. Shipment of U.S. soybeans to China, which was once over $12 billion a year, has collapsed by more than 50%. It's gone down by half. Total agricultural exports to China fell by 53%. That's the first time in American history that agriculture has run a trade deficit. And we're not talking about a small trade deficit. $28.6 billion in the red in 2025. Okay, that's not just a financial number. That's the inversion of American empire. That's the inversion of American reach and power. Meanwhile, who's feeding China? Well, Brazil. Brazil is feeding China. It's now the world's largest exporter of soybeans, shipping more than 60% of its crop to China. In 2024, Brazil overtook the U.S. by a massive margin in supplying, I think, 100 million metric tons of soybeans, while American farmers watched their silos just fill up with soybeans while the markets vanished. They had nowhere to sell them. India has become the largest exporter of rice on earth, controlling, I think, something like 40% or over 40% of global rice trade. By the way, rice is what most people on earth eat as the main staple of their diet. Rice is what most people in the world eat. And Russia has become the world's top wheat exporter, sending over, I think, 45 million or 50 million tons abroad in 2024. I'm not sure what it's at now, but the U.S. barely managed to even export 20 million tons. Argentina is becoming the beef and corn exporter. The Gulf states are pouring investment into African farmland, trying to secure their own supply, their own food security. I'm telling you, the global south is feeding itself and they're feeding each other. And this is by design, and you have to grasp this. This is not happening by accident. It's not just about food. This is about power. You have to understand, when America was the world's breadbasket, they could dictate the terms. They could punish their rivals. They could reward their allies. But when China can now turn to Brazil, when Africa can buy rice from India, when the Middle East can get their wheat from Russia, America's leverage is gone. America's leverage has evaporated in this sector. The weapon of food is no longer in Washington's arsenal, and it's out of their arsenal because the A National OCGFC want it to be out of their arsenal. And inside the United States, in this same sector, consolidation is driving small farmers and mid-sized farmers off the land. You know that black-owned farmland was I think 20 years ago, it was about 20 million acres, and that's collapsed now to just 5 million acres. There's only 5 million acres of farmland that's owned by African Americans in America. It used to be 20 million acres.